Recording. I'm going to mute everybody right now. All right, so the intention of tonight is really to kind of wrap up and have an interactive session where we can talk about some of the things that we went over the last 3 sessions, some things hopefully that you put into place, and then kind of take a second to outline and step back and see if there's some things we need to restructure or that we didn't get done in the 2 weeks. So 2 weeks, a lot of other stuff has happened, a lot of kind of strategies and suggestions going on. So my plan for this evening is to go back to some of that stuff that we talked about in session 2, which were kind of the 3 or 4 areas of solutions that we could get to. I'm going to kind of recap some of the stuff that we talked about doing. And then I'm really hoping that we can hear from some of you all in either what has opened up that you see as a struggle, because the struggles mean that we can find a solution for it, or what you've done and you've done really well and it's working for you. So we'll do that. But I have a super special raffle bucket right here with the names of people who, so I got some feedback from that first, I think it was the second one, about action steps that people were taking and about what was going on. So we're going to have a raffle live on Zoom to see who's going to get. We're going to do some meal prep containers and 30-minute consult either with myself or Whitney to kind of talk about your plan, which is where we started originally. So, all right, so we're going to put these in here. And we have, can y'all see that? Jill, yay. And you're on here, Jill, even better. This is awesome. So Jill, I think you've gotten to join all 4 with us, right? Yeah, awesome. And that, if you got the picture of the food that was beautifully prepared from, that we sent out in the email, that was Jill's picture. And she was like, I want to see everyone else's too. I'm like, I'm sure that they don't look as pretty as yours do, but they tasted good, right? So Jill, this is awesome. Oh wait, let me unmute you. Yes,
I will tell you, here's the deal. I've been meal prepping now for 3 years, and I hate leftovers, so it's all in the presentation. If I have to eat something that's been prepared ahead of time, it always has to look good.
Yeah, well, it did, and we're gonna get you some more containers to continue that, whether we're doing it at home or you're taking it to work. So,
that's perfect.
Awesome, congratulations.
You'll meet me back.
Okay, perfect. So. Dun, dun, dun. I'm not going to do full presentation screen because I just want to do these as a reminder, and then I'll put us back face to face so we can kind of talk through it. So again, what I've heard from a few people is that they were on a path, right? And they had a goal, and then the situation changed, access to food changed, access to gym changed. And so there was a week or 2 of transitioning between what was my goal to what is my goal. And one of the things that we focused on the first week was really how it was more about the anxiety and the roller coaster of moods than just the blood sugar stabilization. So it's not just about general health, but really about keeping that mental health during this time. And these, again, less talk from me, more questions to you, because if I can ask questions that prompt you into action or to think about your state, then I believe that's how we create the best plan, because you can come up with a better plan for you than I can come up with for you. So tonight, just kind of think about, and I said, get a notepad. So we're going to kind of go through these piece by piece for you personally, and then hopefully you can find some things that you've done really well and some solutions you've come up with, and then also some holes and areas in which we can help you with. So kind of these are the things that we hit on, that pyramid over or in the bottom corner. I love it because no matter what your goal is, if it's sport, if it's energy, if it's weight loss, whatever that may be, and however you're moving your body through those 3 pillars in the middle, nutrition is the foundation. And really lifestyle nutrition is the foundation. So we haven't talked a lot about fad diets or about super specific things, but really it's about the consistent little things that you can do to make eating well for your goals and lifestyle, right? So consistency over time. So I like to talk about what we call the big 3, which is consistency, flexibility, and then sustainability. And so what we're focused on tonight is consistency. What do we need to do that can be consistent, not just now, but when we start to transition back to whatever the next normal is going to be. So consistency, and then flexibility. So flexibility, I think we're all getting an exercise in being flexible with things that with our routine and what we're used to, we might be liking that flexibility and enjoying it, and it might be more difficult for others. And then sustainability is like, what things did you already have in place that you can sustain and keep throughout this? Let's not forget those things. If it was working and we can control it and do it, let's keep it. And then what things are we creating now to be sustainable? So kind of think in terms of consistency, flexibility, and sustainability, and where we are on each one of those in these areas. So your plan, that's how much you eating, what quality foods are you eating, how are you meal prepping, grocery lists, all of that sort of thing. How do you feel I would like to empower you to feel confident about a plan. And if that's something that we need to talk about after this, then that's why I'm here after this call, right? So it's like, what is your plan? Do you feel confident about the plan of how much you're eating, how you're setting your day up, what you're putting in your body and getting the right fuel? Accountability, well, let's go to routine. Routine is something else we'll talk about in a second, but specifically just how you're setting up your day. Environment, I know that we had Becky, and maybe she'll talk to us in a second about this, but she moved her workstation from being near the kitchen to, I believe it was upstairs. So how are you setting your environment up to help you be successful, both mentally, physically, and specifically with your nutrition? What is your mental game like? That goes into all of your triggers. Maybe we've identified some triggers, some reasons that you're snacking, some reasons that you're going to food instead of something else, and then creating a routine around staying on track mentally. That mindset is a big deal across the board. And then accountability. Who's on your team? You're showing up here tonight for accountability with this group, for connection with this group, and we want to have that continue. So we're going to talk about a few different ways that we can do that. Even if we can't be together physically, there's a lot of power in texting and looking and knowing that somebody has your best interest at heart when it comes to what your goals are. So I want to start with routine, right? So when we talk about routine, we talked about setting up meal times, alarms and written plans, having go-to meals, meal prep, and then packing lunches. So we did the meal prep on Monday night. We had that set for the week. I believe, I don't know that I saw Connie get on here, but I know she said that she started setting some alarms to remind her for times that she needs to eat. This is super crucial. Yesterday was Wednesday. Yesterday was, I got really involved in some work that I was doing. We finished this kids thing. I spent the whole afternoon working and getting stuff done. And then it got to be 4 o'clock, which is about the time we work out. And then I got over to the workout and I was in the awful mood and I couldn't figure out what my problem was. And I had realized that I hadn't eaten since breakfast, right? So it's like, I didn't have the things that I knew that I needed to set myself up for a good workout and to feel right and to have the right attitude with my family. And it was a very good eye-opener for how important that routine is, and also how easy it is to forget what day it is and forget what time it is. So putting those structures in place is something that I'm going to focus on as I get more involved with working from home. So let's see, what if I unmute you all and you mute yourself, and then if you want to speak, you unmute yourself. Can we all do that? So I'm going to unmute you all. Then you can choose to unmute yourself and share. So I'd love to hear, because the more that you guys share, the more that other people can learn too. Like I have my way of doing it. Whitney has her way of doing it. We have 9, 10 people on here. Everybody has their own way of doing it, and we're all going to be able to learn from one another. So I kind of want to open the floor. And right now we're just refining our own routine, our own plan, and our own structure that we can head into next week and feel like we have some concrete grounding and some footing. So I'd love to hear somebody that either implemented or found a new routine or a new system to stay kind of on point with their routine. My example is that I write it down. We have it on the refrigerator, kind of what our day is, what my day is, what Jeremy's day is. After yesterday, I realized that that wasn't enough and that I might need something that physically alerts me to a lunchtime and to a snack time because I'll go from breakfast to dinner without anything. So that's yesterday was a big learning point for me. So I'd love to hear kind of some of those types of things that you guys have experienced, specifically around routines.
I can go first. So I have an exercise routine, which it was pretty tough at the beginning. I guess the thing that I'm still having a challenge with is the eating. I'm only eating twice a day. I don't snack. And it's becoming very challenging because I'm not working out as much as I used to. And I'm dealing with high blood pressure, and now I'm back in my medication. So it's sort of playing with my mood.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not fun. So I am struggling there and I'm stuck. But when it comes to the exercise, I nailed that down. I eat pretty healthy. I would say those are the things that I have set up already, but it's just getting myself to eat something in the morning. So what I'm doing is I stretch for about 30 minutes and then I go out for a run. And I don't want to put anything in my stomach before I go out for a run. So by the time I'm back, I'm just all wired up, and I don't know, I read or I start working and then the day just go by. So
what is your fitness or health goal right now?
For me, everything I'm doing is to come off the medication for blood pressure, which I did, but now I'm back because I'm not working out as much.
Okay.
So that is my goal, really.
Okay. So physiologically, your body is most ready to absorb nutrients within 45 minutes after your run. So
that's good to know. Okay.
That's a good time to get some simple carbohydrates in, a little bit of protein. That's a great time for a shake because I know what you mean. Like, you're all jacked up from your workout. You may not necessarily feel hungry, but knowing that is physiologically one of the most important times to refuel and refresh your system, especially, I'm not saying that's going to necessarily immediately impact blood pressure, but that is an important time to refuel and to refeed. So if you did nothing else, I would focus on figuring out a quick and easy snack to eat within 45 minutes of your run.
Okay.
Could be your next step.
And I must have protein at that point.
After a workout, ideally, you're going to have protein. Doesn't have to be a whole lot, but some protein. And then that's a great time for simple carbohydrates. So fruits, sweet potatoes, coconut water, not a lot of fats because it slows digestion down. So that would be a really great time for, again, a shake or a banana and something, or you do peanut butter, or not peanut butter, but protein and some sort of carbohydrate.
Okay, thank you. And I have one question.
Yes.
So I am gluten and dairy free finally, and I've been using cashew milk, which it tastes delicious, but is that like more fat than anything else?
I don't know the macronutrients on that. I would look on the back label and see if the carbohydrates or if the fat were higher for us per serving.
Okay.
I help you categorize the food.
Okay. I can tell you, I don't know what cashew milk's like exact macronutrient is, but like regular milk has a lot of protein in it, which is why it's good. And like these nut milks that we have now don't have a lot of protein, but there are a few pea protein, like PEA milks. One of the brands is Ripple, and if you can get like an unsweetened vanilla, and it doesn't taste bad, and it has the same amount of protein as milk, but it doesn't have dairy in it. So
okay,
that's something to look into. I don't know what the cashew milk is, but I know almond milk is low on protein and pretty high on carbohydrates.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so sticking with routine. Anyone else have some success in kind of changing routine or something that they noticed that they focus on and that made a big difference over the last 2 weeks?
I moved my workouts to the morning, and it has changed my entire emotional and mental state, like 180 degrees,
Awesome.
because I'm getting endorphins going in the morning. And I've for the last 3 years been an afternoon workout guy. Like that was my jam. Stood hard, die on that hill afternoons. Moved it to the mornings, and I'm a different human being. So change.
Yeah. Awesome.
Todd, I've heard that from like a number of people. A lot of my clients have said that like moving their workouts to the morning during this time has like really helped and impacted the way that they like operate the rest of the day. So
well, it puts me, I think also because I'm like, I will be working out at 6:30. And so it's like,
right.
it like also installs like a schedule into this very non-scheduled experience.
Yeah,
which I think
exactly.
is helpful too, but yeah.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
All right, anybody have something that they've done that they maybe were doing before that helped them stay on the same routine that you would like to share that might help somebody on here? So yeah,
sorry.
Go ahead.
So I've been working with Whitney for the last month, but I will honestly say going back to logging my food and using the MyFitnessPal has totally opened my, because you know me, I've always eaten really well, but I found out that I was really not eating enough. And so really seeing it like I used to do years and years and years ago, got tired of logging. So this MyFitnessPal has just really, really opened my eyes and showed me how much I'm lacking in my food groups, in my macros.
I like that. We haven't talked a whole lot about food logging, but that's like a top 3. So if I do like a quick top 3 that make the biggest impact, it's drink half your body weight in ounces of water, log your food. I don't care where or how. And it's because it's going to keep you accountable for things. You're going to think about it. Then it also is going to give you a reality check because you think you did X, Y, and Z, and then you look back and you realize that you didn't, or you did, or whatever it is, and it can give you a reality to talk to a coach about. So it's not a remembering thing. So log your food, half your body weight in ounces of water, and if you are eating 3 times a day, eat 4. If you're eating 2 times a day, eat 3. And every single time you eat, have a protein, a fat, and a carb, a protein, a fat, and a carb every single time. If you can do those 3 things, like you're going to feel exponentially better and you're going to get results. So I love that you brought that up, and that would be a great thing to implement to our routine. We have theoretically, I know Jill said she's working crazy hours still, but a lot of us have more time. And so it's a good time to kind of learn that food log, or how to use a food log, or write it down with a pen and paper, right? Keep it super simple. All right, so anything else on routine specifically?
I have something specifically. I had noticed that I had been working through my mid-afternoon snack, and so you had mentioned setting some alarms on the phone. I found that to be really helpful, not just with hitting that mid-afternoon snack, which makes me less likely to want to graze in the kitchen at dinner time, which is when I reconstruct where things go off the rails, that's it just for me. It also just helps take breaks during the workday and help hit the little ones schedule for those who have little ones. And the other thing I added in was just some daily Zoom workout. For me, at least, it upped the intensity some. And just like the guy said, I'm sorry, I didn't get your name. I've found that when those Zoom workouts are in the morning, I feel better. The nature of the ones that I'm on are at different times during the day, Tuesday, Thursday at 11, and then Monday, Wednesday, or the opposite. 9 a.m. 2 days of the week, 11 a.m. 2 days, and then noon on Friday as it is. But that has been very normalizing just for me. But I think that's it. Food login, just quality ingredients, stuff like that.
Yeah, and then Reagan's crushing it right now.
I don't know. Thank you very much. I don't know. Making it up as I go every day.
We all are, right? We all are right
Yes.
now. Let's see. Okay, so let's go from routine to environment. So environment, this was one that I had started focusing on a little bit before we got kind of home and shelter. I started realizing things that I would do around the kitchen that I didn't share. A lot of times you think, Whitney made a post today about once you're in something for so long, you kind of forget what you know that maybe other people haven't thought of. And so sharing some of those secrets, like hiding snacks, and not hiding, like keeping them out of sight, right? Making them less easy to distract you when you're like talking about in the kitchen making dinner. Maybe clearing off the counter so you don't see anything, or you only see healthy options. Rearranging the refrigerator. I had done a lot of that, but one of the things that I realized was how easy it was to plop down with the laptop and or my phone on the kitchen counter and get to work. And then when I got a little bit distracted or needed a break, instead of getting up and walking around or going outside or doing something different, I would get up and like grab a snack of some sort. And even if it was a healthy snack, I would quite a bit. So for me, environment was everything. It made a huge impact. I know that all of us are working from home more or for the first time, and so this will have a big impact of access to the food that is there. Especially at first, I think a lot of people went out and bought non-perishables, which are things that are super yummy and last forever, and maybe that we don't usually have in our cabinet or our refrigerator. So would love to hear about anyone who kind of did that environmental overhaul. The first week we talked about going in and assess and kind of like audit your pantry and your refrigerator, things that you found or things that you had changed over the last 2 weeks, just with kind of this in mind about how to keep your hand out of the cookie jar, so to speak.
I'll throw myself under the bus willingly. We normally keep fairly healthy food around, but especially with a 1-year-old, there's some snacks that would never tempt me, like whole grain Cheerios. Never in a million years would that sound good, but if I skipped an afternoon snack, it started to look really fantastic. And then we have popcorn for if we watch a movie or Netflix, and I definitely had to put that on a high shelf because throwing myself under the bus again. Instead of having like a serving, I would want to eat a bag because how bad can it be until I did the math. So I don't know, maybe others can relate.
That's good. Becky, tell us how the workstation change has been.
Pretty good. I mean, I'm getting more laps and going up and down the stairs. So there's a bonus, I guess. Because I was doing that as part of like my workout routine, but like outside, because I have stairs on my deck going down to my yard. And so I was like purposefully like going up and down the stairs outside. Now I'm just going up and down the stairs inside. I don't know. I haven't really noticed a big like change per se. Like I think just because things at work are kind of slowing down as well. So I guess I'm just not upstairs as much because things aren't as pressing. And that's actually kind of getting a little depressing. So yeah, I'm kind of in a funk this week, unfortunately. I'm gonna try and find my mojo and come out of it. But yeah, I'm kind of on that roller coaster this week.
Well, I appreciate you being transparent about that. I think I get the honor of talking to a lot of people every week, and kind of one of the things that we check in on is mental health as well as physical and nutrition, right? Because that's kind of what we do and love. But this week seems to have been the week that everybody settled into a little bit more of a depressed state, if that was going to be an option for them. I don't know if you happen to see, is anybody doing the push-up challenge? Okay, a few of us, right? So this is week 86, which in the restaurant business, and I guess kind of in general, 86 means like it's gone. We're done with the 86 mashed potatoes, 86 the like whatever French fries. Okay, so that means there's no more of it. And so this week the number was 86 push-ups every single week, which is a challenge. And so Jeremy wrote a little bit of a post about what do you get at 86, and this is the week to quit. But if we flip that around, which we're trying to do, all of us and everybody that's on here is trying to flip things around, right? Or you wouldn't be plugged in. It was like, what are we going to purge and what are we going to 86 that we don't want in our life that could be a good thing to come out of? But anyway, Becky, my point is like, this is the week that I think there's a little bit more reality set in. We got a little bit more shelter and home time allotted in Austin. And I think that it's a mindset game right now. So,
well, I think, you know, in my field, so this is a kind of eye opener of, you know, we start training. So I work for everyone else that's there. I work for the Austin, City of Austin Parks and Rec Department, and the aquatics department. We run the pools, and we're literally coming to the realization that we might not have a summer. And we train lifeguards from basically the week that we went into lockdown all the way through, you know, the first week of June, and we're locked down. So we have no staff. And it's just this whole like, yeah. And then today the question is, can we run the facilities with what we have right now? It's depressing. Because I don't, you know, like if we get to go outside in June, July, August, it's going to be hard for people to realize that back in the days that we were training lifeguards, we were stuck inside.
So how has that impacted nutrition? It sounds like it's impacted mental health a little bit. What have you noticed with your fitness and nutrition? Are you still staying on your routine, plugging in and kind of being on the plan? I know you're a very consistent person. Have you been able to maintain that?
Yeah, I think what I noticed this week though is that I haven't been challenging myself intensity wise, and that I need to really like up that in order to like get those endorphins and to get those. And so I guess I'm realizing that I'm more of a competitive person than I realized I was before, in the sense of like, I need the push in the gym. I need the, you know, someone yelling at me to go and to, you know, and to push myself and to expect more, because I just am an outward accountability person. And so not having that and having to rely on myself, I'm really kind of, so I'm like Debbie Downer today. I'm just disappointed that I'm not able to push myself to that high intensity that I get in the gym.
Yeah. I get it. We can Zoom and do burpees together and see who we can compete that way. I don't know. Maybe that'll do.
Let's not.
Oh yeah. I think you're gonna win.
Shauna, I'm interested in how have you changed anything with your setup or mindset or kind of options? I know you shared with us that you just found out that you're working from home until August. So you know you're kind of in it for a longer.
I'm hoping that changes, but
yeah.
I think, well, since I've been home, I've started getting up and walking in the mornings on the treadmill, just because I wake up super early and my day really doesn't start because I work for a community college. So my day really doesn't start for students till after 8. Even though I start typically working before that. So, but I get up really early, like 5:30 most days. So I get up and I've been getting on the treadmill. I also had started doing this at work, but I'm continuing to do it at home, is every hour I get up and walk for 2 or 3 minutes, just so I'm not sitting at this desk and making my back hurt. So, and then in the afternoons, Kim, who is down in here in this picture somewhere, she's my partner. We've worked out together for a number of years. And so every afternoon when she gets off work, she comes to my house. We work out in my garage. So we've maintained, that's our gym time typically, but we've maintained that and we push each other. So my routine only has changed by me getting up and spending time on the treadmill in the mornings, because I was doing the other stuff. Food wise, I set, I can eat at this time, I can eat at this time, I can eat at this time, and I can eat at this time. I mean, I use MyFitnessPal, I log everything, but I also have caught myself making myself a list on my little like sticky notes,
Mhm.
what I have to eat, what are my options. And then when that's gone, I mark it off. So I kind of know what's here. So I'm not going in there and looking to see what I have here.
Mm.
I know because it's on this piece of paper. So that's something that I didn't necessarily do before the last few weeks, is like make a list of what foods I have to eat here that are good choices.
So, and that's what I was gonna say. So is that keeping you from grabbing some things that are also there, but maybe aren't your best options?
Well, sometimes.
Most
Just
of that's the
depends on-
idea.
You know, occasionally,
Yeah.
you know, Sunday I made brownies and I had a brownie, but you know, but it makes me, yeah, it makes me choose better options than just going in there and not knowing what's in there and pulling something together and not having planned my day.
I like it. So it's talking again specifically about environment changing. Did anybody audit their fridge or rearrange their pantry or kind of go in and notice the visibility of things? We have a lot of advanced nutrition people on this call, so I'm not sure if that was a necessary thing. Maybe that's already something that's happened. But is there anybody that kind of took an assessment of either where they were working, the screen time that they were having while they were eating, and or rearrange their kitchen a little bit that we can talk about that you want to share?
Lisa,
I'll share.
I'm
Go ahead.
having to watch screen time while I'm eating. I mean, I worked a fair amount from home prior to this, but my routine is because my class, I don't know, my classes and my regular private training clients, and now I'm doing more remote things. My routine is kind of flip. It's very off, and I still don't really quite feel, this is the first week that I feel like I'm maybe kind of nailing down my routine a little bit, because I've had to shift the kind of work I'm doing. I've got another part-time work that I brought on to make up for some of what I lost. And so I've really been struggling with when to get my work, because my schedule was really, really set. And I worked out and my meals were like, I was bang on. And I feel like this past month has been like, I don't know what I'm doing, trying to get into a schedule, having difficulty, you know, fitting in my workouts. And it's funny because I'm programming a lot for remote private training clients. And then it almost feels like I don't even want to think about like, what am I going to do? I just want to go somewhere and have someone tell me what to do. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I can write my own, but I'm kind of struggling with that. And then what it was happening.
You call that CrossFit,
that
sister?
I know, right? I wasn't eating enough, so I started logging again, because that's always my go-to when I know that I get off with my meals. It's usually I'm not getting enough protein in, and then the audit is that like you said, Lisa, that first couple grocery shoppings that I did, I was like walking down aisles that I'd never walked down. Like, I don't know how long I might need this. I think I'm going to make chocolate chip cookies. And, you know, I mean, stuff that I wouldn't normally do because I don't know, I was like hunkered down in the bunker. I didn't know what was going to happen. So there was kind of a purge of some of that stuff that I just like tucked away back into, you know, the back of my, it's there, but it's not staring me in my face, because when I did make the batch of chocolate chip cookies, I ended up just like eating cookie dough for 3 days. And that's not something that I normally do. And then, you know, this whole thing and then it started the spiral. I felt terrible. You know, my sleep was off. My mood went downhill. The anxiety went up. Like all this stuff kind of spiraled. So it was an interesting, like, to realize all that and to kind of clear that out, take those steps, start food logging again, which I haven't done in a while, to see, you know, where I'm actually missing. And I think I'm going to have to start setting some alarms. I've never had to do that before in terms of like when I eat, but my schedule's still really different than I'm used to. And I'm finding that I'm getting to like the afternoon work that I need to do and to go and do that. And I haven't eaten enough. So I like the idea of trying some alarms to kind of kickstart that routine again. Because I'm pretty routine driven. Once I get a good routine, I can stick with it. But that's been my shift right now, is that I don't have a good handle on fit the things that I'm doing right now. Because for me too, the shift from in-person training classes and doing face-to-face personal training to doing remote coaching has been, I mean, I've made the shift, but it's a really different way of working with people, right? And so that has, I feel that it's a little free-floating right now and not as scheduled for me. So that's kind of this week. It was really the first week that I feel like I've been kind of locking down that schedule, and then all the other pieces are starting to fall into place again.
Got it. So you, a lot of what you said kind of takes it to the next step of this, which is mindset, right? So you did some environmental changes and you realized that when you weren't eating on point, when you weren't doing the things that are part of your routine and part of your plan, that then your mind starts to slip into places that you don't want it to be. And so I think no matter where we are nutritionally or physically, we probably all had that. And the mind game is so important right now, right? So a little of what we talked about was the mindset of just what you knowing your goal. What are you thinking about? Triggers, noticing your triggers, and then how are you going to shift when you go to food as to calm that trigger? Some things that you've done to go away from that, or maybe I hope I say your name right. Nintis was talking about not eating. So maybe now knowing that it's the most important to get food in, like physiological right after a workout, is she's going to shift her mindset and start to make that a priority, right? So it could be to not snack or to eat when you need to eat. It also includes, we talked about changing your state, right? So if I was getting anxious, I haven't had much anxiety or fear really since probably the first week that all this was happening, which is really great. But I was super anxious, fearful about ridiculous things, like just, I don't know, wasn't in the state that I wanted to be in. And we really went back to that Tony Robbins thing of change your state. And it was squats and burpees. Anytime, squats and burpees, change your state, and then decide what you're going to focus on. Change your state, decide what you're going to focus on. And I know that if I get kind of antsy from sitting at the computer too long, something I'm not used to doing, even if it's working out or Zooming with like activity, it's not something we're used to. And so my go-to to like fill myself back up might be to go grab a snack. And so it's like, okay, I'm not going to go grab a snack. I need to go sit on my front porch and get some fresh air. I need to go walk around the house. So that sort of stuff is that mindset, change your state. What are you focused on type of things that I'm talking about specifically right now. And you can kind of share where you are with that if you figured out some stuff, and specifically if it involves how you are addressing food for comfort, for stress, for boredom, or maybe just not making it a priority and realizing that it needs to be a priority because your goals are to be fit and healthy and come out onto the next normal as well as you possibly can. So I love this piece because I think that it's more important than anything else. You can have a plan, you can have the right environment, you can have the routine set, but if your mind isn't in it, if you don't have people to support that mindset and keep you on track, then really kind of it all goes out the window. So I'd love to hear kind of some things, some tricks, some tools that you have used in the past and you're bringing back or have brought with you, and or some things that you realize that you needed to implement right now and how that's affecting specifically nutrition and fitness right now.
Well, for me, you know, one of the things that happened is when we first, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm outside, so. You know, I'm on the board of directors of a nonprofit art organization, and you know, we've been in this huge capital campaign. And when we started sheltering, nobody was doing Zoom, right? And so I was very organized. Like I did the whole food audit. I was able to see all my food because I had a lot of stress. It's like, do I have enough? And then once I got organized, I felt like I was more organized then. Now that we're starting to have meetings again, and my workload is really ramped up, some of the things that are happening is like my schedule is kind of blown up, right? And I did a workout that included running, and I realized I got gassed. And I think I'm not going very far, so I found my my little Fitbit, is that what it's called? So I need to start logging my steps, and I really need to start keeping track of like how far I'm taking Sarabi and how far I'm getting outside beyond just my workout, right? Because if I'm doing the workout and I'm not moving very much here, that's not going to do it for me. And also, like, I've got to make sure that I have my breakfast before I even check email, because I'll look at that and then I'm starting to work, and then 2 hours go by and I still haven't had breakfast. So trying to now get a routine together, a schedule that really includes a lot more people that I'm communicating with. So it's kind of where I am.
Got it. I like it. So routine and kind of going back to some of the basics.
Yeah.
Michelle, you can say no thanks. Anybody I call on can, but I know that Michelle she's moved. She has been in a hotel for a while. She's in a new place now, and she has construction workers there and you can't leave, right? So you're like in a new place with construction workers trying to fix your place and trying to stay sane, stay fit, and stay healthy. So I would imagine that mentally has been a challenge. And I'd love to hear if you have some things that you've kind of gone back to, or some things that you've done to keep yourself on track during that time.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
It's this has been so helpful for all that, hearing what everybody's doing. It's good reminders of things to stick with, because it has been like our whole life has been just so changed. The house still isn't finished, but we're here, and I'm thankful to be here and not in a hotel. But during that time, I still was food logging because I had to be accountable to Lisa. It was so helpful just to be able to like write it down. Kept me on track, and I felt like at least I accomplished that, even if my macros weren't perfect. You know, it's that was good. And I could when I was really on was when I could plan out my day and put everything into MyFitnessPal to plan it ahead of time, and then just alter it as I went. So at least I had a plan. And now I've just been kind of like out of my regular routine and just as I go putting it in, and it's not as effective, but it's better than it could be. So I think logging food has been something that sort of grounded me, and to make sure that I get outside at least for an hour a day, because we're in a condo. It's like, it's just different. I miss having a yard, but it's like, if I don't get outside enough, that's when I notice that everything starts to like feel like overwhelming. So that's been a big thing, even when we were in the hotel, just to like get out, like drop, I don't care how busy we are, we're getting out for a while, and one of us will stay with whoever and it works out. Yeah, my routine's been super off, but having the Zoom workouts have been really helpful, because that just sets the tone for the day. And they've been all different times, but especially getting it done in the morning, like Todd said, is just like game changing. Like it just sets the tone for your day. So it's really helpful. But
awesome. Yeah. Well, I can imagine having people in and out of my home with all this. It's got to be very, very interesting. So, so you really, these are the fundamentals and the building blocks for setting up success with nutrition, right? So having your plan, having the environment, having the right mindset, and then having your team. And we're not getting into the nitty gritties, because sometimes that can be overwhelming. And in a time like now, everybody on here would need a different level of nitty gritty. So I do want to have a little bit of time for, the last piece was who's on your team. And other than this has been a great accountability piece. Even like I shared my yesterday with you and not really eating, and how I kind of had a breakdown with that. And it wasn't a big deal, but knowing that I had this group to kind of plug into, it's a reminder of the little things that make the biggest difference. And kind of want to open up just questions for the next, 5-10 minutes. If there's anything specifically that we can help with, Whitney's on here too. So she's also a nutrition coach with me. And Maria's getting to work with her, but anything specifically that you have questions about in regards to a plan for yourself. So this might be the more nitty-gritty question and answer time. We're also going to talk about the accountability after this. The cooking class was super fun. So we're going to do that sometime. We're going to figure out what that looks like. Whitney's got a couple Monday nights. We've got the Quarantine Lean, which is an accountability group that's kicking off on April the 20th. So that's $59. It's 21 days. And we're going to have a start call, a midpoint call, and an end call. And we'll go into actually like meal planning for Todd, meal planning for Jill. Like, what times do you need? What does that look like? And so it'll be a little bit more specific. Also kind of teach like a top-down approach. So it's like, if you're ready to count macros and log everything in MyFitnessPal, great. If you're not there and you want to use hand portions and kind of go with that, we can do that. So you'll have a plan. We'll have a group to keep you accountable. And then anybody that does that, I know we're all home. Some of us have kids. So we've created a checklist, a weekly checklist for kids. I would say 5 to 7 is probably the youngest that would be able to, you to be able to incorporate it with, and then all the way up to 17. And we also have kind of like a kids monthly bingo. So it's just fun ways to, if you are home with your kids, that we can get those guys involved in healthy eating and kind of setting a platform for them. So that's automatically a part of the Quarantine Lean, which starts on April the 20th. So if there are some things that you're like, I know I need accountability, I need a little bit more structure with my plan, I don't have people that I'm checking in specifically with nutrition and fitness and that sort of thing, then this is going to be a great opportunity for you. So that's one way to plug into. And then the last thing is just opening up this for questions that you have maybe coming into it that didn't get answered over the last 2 weeks, or that have come up over the last 2 weeks as you've kind of looked at your nutrition maybe in a different light than before. So we'll spend the last 5 to 10 minutes just kind of ironing out some things that you guys have on your plate. Maybe we don't have any questions because we're all doing awesome. Sometimes you know the answer. It's just got to be, you've got to be reminded, right? So it's not necessarily new information. It's just remembering what hole you have in your plan right now. So hopefully that's kind of where all you guys are. Again, I know a lot of you are pretty advanced nutrition folks, but want to have the opportunity for anybody that's got some feedback or some questions or something that they want to share about the experience. We're here for a few more minutes.
I just hear schedule from everybody, including myself. And it's new schedule, it's a disrupted schedule, it's a jacked up schedule, it's no schedule, it's a weird schedule, it's my kid's schedule. And I mean, I hear that in this group and I hear it outside. And I think that that's, I was challenged by someone very close to me a couple of weeks ago to find it one place in my life where I'm going to be able to strive in the middle of all of this instead of just survive. And it started out as one thing, and now I keep adding those areas, which is, I think, helping me plow through this. And I think one of those is just like, okay, well, what is my schedule? Like, should I really be vacuuming at 11:30 at night? No, this is fucking crazy. Like, figure out a schedule of when you clean and when you because otherwise, we could turn into what is that syndrome where you don't know if it's night or day? Like, I mean, in 5-minute increments that could happen. So, that's one of my areas, is to try to drive my own schedule. And I'm spoiled because I have work, and that's driving a lot of it. But at the same time, in my spare time, no, 11:30 at night. And I'm sure my downstairs neighbors don't think that's the right time for me to vacuum either, But it's just like, what is a schedule and how can I impact that is really, and I think that affects our food. I mean, we're rhythmic animals. I mean, so, if you can get your head around, and I mean, mine is not perfect. I'm not vacuuming at 11:30, but that's about all I can tell you. But I think I mean, it sounds to me like schedule. And I mean, it's reinforcing how that's an area in my life that is a challenge.
So do you have it written down somewhere?
Well, Christine and I were just talking about this on text, so I really am engaged. I'm doing it. Mine is Outlook, and that's partly because of work. But I'm even putting one of my friend's kids is having a birthday. We're singing at 4:30 tomorrow, and it's on my Outlook calendar. It's in one place, and that it's not perfect. It's moving, but at least I can, you know, and I can move it in Outlook. Like I've never been a paper guy for that kind of stuff, but yeah, I'm really trying to, and like, you know, then for me, like I'm by myself in a new town. It's tough. And on weekends, like I feel like the weekends pass me by and it's like, all I did was like, you know, it takes me all day to run a mile to the park. Like, you know, like it's like, there needs to be something that's saying, no, I'm going to run it too. And I'm going to do this when I get to the park. I'm going to do, you know, but it's like, why is it taking me until 2:00 in the afternoon to take a 15-minute run? You know, like that's, so I'm trying to like turn up the volume on that.
Yeah.
On ratcheting down on my schedule.
Yeah.
So Todd, I have a suggestion. Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate how everyone shares their experience. It really helps. Something that helped me for my workout and my run, I would put it in my door. So when I wake up in the morning and I leave my bedroom, I'm like, okay, I want to go running today. I'm going to do this.
Right.
So, you know, something visual maybe can help you. Just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I think, strange as it sounds, I just think I need to block out my time on my weekends better so that I like am doing something, you know, rather than like, I don't know.
I like having a whiteboard, you know. I don't know, I got used to that at the gym, but even like what I need to do that day, you know, like this is what I need to do today, because I'll go off here or do something else. And the alarms really help. That's really helped me quite a bit. But the alarms don't really help me with day of the week. So like I put my trash out 2 days early and I thought, God, what's wrong with everybody? I'm so early. And 2 days early. So, look at me, I'm early.
Who'd have
I
thought?
have an alarm for taking the trash out because I the same way. Alarm for the trash out. And kind of along those same lines, I think I may have shared, we do weekend news with the kids, and it was Monday, and nobody can remember what we did over the weekend because like the days seem like the weekend all the time, which was super awesome. Like it's nice to have weekend days all the time, but also like you're saying, Todd, that structure kind of keeps everything in place. And I think it gives a lot of us sanity because we're so used to that kind of rhythm of life. So I hear you on schedule. Anything else? Any other questions or kind of takeaways or things you want to share?
One thing that's been really helpful for me, I do most of my work on either my phone or my computer right now. And I was noticing that like I was working from like 5:30 in the morning till like 9:30 or 10:30 at night. Just like, even if it wasn't like structured time of sitting down and working, I was like checking emails and like, I just felt like I was always on my phone. And I usually am really good about like blocking time in the morning for myself and just doing some like quiet time. And even that was like disrupted because like once you look at your phone and see an email or a text, like your brain's thinking of like all of the other things that you need to do. And so for me, I've like created some pretty strict rules about like when I can open my phone. And so I'm just like, when I get up in the morning, I'm not allowed to look at my phone until at least 6:30 in the morning. So like I have at least an hour of quiet time. And so I just leave my phone in my room for that first hour. And like same with at night after 9 o'clock, like I'm not looking at my phone. And I've like had to tell Jack like to like verbally tell me like put your phone down. So because I really noticed that it was like affecting my sleep because you can't sleep when you're thinking about all the things that you should be doing tomorrow. So yeah, that was like one thing that's really helped me. And then also, I don't know about you guys, but my sleep in general has just been really poor since the quarantine. And I've heard that from like a number of people. Jack, my husband, like never has a problem sleeping, and he was up at like 1:30 the other night reading. I was like, what are you doing? Like, I can't sleep. So anyway, I think that sleep, probably because we're not like overstimulated, so our brains are probably like, wow, I have all of this energy and like mental energy. But anyway, I've created this like really thorough sleep routine where I'm doing like breath work, and then I found that taking a cold shower before bed actually makes you tired. Who would have thunk? But I've been doing that, and then like turning my phone off. So having this like ritual around sleep has kind of helped me get into a like routine like that. And it's not saying that my sleep is perfect, but it's gotten better since implementing some of that stuff. So
good. And well-rested people make better decisions around everything, food included.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Whitney, I really appreciate that because that really resonated with me. I found that since quarantine, my my boundaries on my work time have just like gone out the window because so much more of what I'm doing, my coaching is happening on my phone or on the computer rather than face to face. And it has just kind of morphed into like happening at random times throughout the day. And so I think establishing a hard, like, and what I was losing was my morning time. It was just like I was jumping in to try to get ahead of the game with, you know, getting the clients before their day started and things like that. And so I was losing the whole, like how I have even just an hour in the morning and then in the evening as well. So those, and those are all things that I know, but I needed to hear them from someone else again to remind myself, you know, that that's okay to like that I need to do that to be productive in the rest of my day and to set those and I have a challenge from Todd, which I'm gonna lock into here, do some more time blocking of my time and actually pins, because I've got so many tasks that are free floating because they can be, and I need to decide where they're going to fit in my schedule rather than letting them free float throughout my day and my week, and just commit to these are the days and times that I do this.
Go, sister. I love you. I will check in on you. Do this.
Love it.
So
he's on your team. He's on your team.
Yep.
Good. Kim and
I have
Bianca.
one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Reagan, you said that you like popcorn. I don't think I drank my popcorn actually because it's absurd. But I have found that if you make air popped popcorn, so like make it on the stove, two things happen. One, you actually have to think about it. You have to like get up and like make it on the stove, which takes more time. And then you can also portion it out. And then also it's not as bad for you because it doesn't have all the additive stuff in it. So
that is
it's
fantastic.
Not that hard to do.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
That's fantastic, and it's welcomed. I had no idea popcorn was a thing until Corona, but apparently it is. So thank you. All kinds of weird habits.
I hit 4 grocery stores trying to find popcorn.
I went to Walgreens and I got baby Motrin while I was there, but really I was there for popcorn for Tiger King, and that's when you know the world is going to hell in a handbasket.
Oh my God, that's the name of a book, Popcorn for Tiger King.
Right, yeah.
All right, awesome, guys. Kim, Bianca, I think you two are the only people that we haven't heard from. So if you have anything to share that you've learned or implemented, or maybe even just gotten from hearing from other people tonight, we'd love to hear from you, but no pressure if we don't want to.
Well, I am working from work, so I actually go into work every day. So my routines have not been uprooted as much other than the gym. So that was a big thing because that's a big thing for me. And my kids are grown and out of the house, so that's my time. But getting with Shauna every day, you know, we've kept on that routine. We talk about food all the time and share recipes. And so I'm one of those that I've actually been doing the macro in logging since I think I started in August of last year, and have been pretty successful at it. And I'm one of those, I know Whitney said this when we were cooking, how like her breakfast is the same and her lunch is the same. I'm kind of like that type of person. So if I find something that really works for me, I kind of stick with that. And then I just change either my snacks throughout the day, and then of course dinner, you know, and just and I think when we first started this quarantine thing, I was like, okay, I've got to make casseroles and enchiladas and like all this like mom food, you know, and portion it out and freeze it. And so I did all that, you know, in the beginning, but you just have to remember it's not so bad that you're eating some of that. You just need to eat it in proportions, you know, and eat like your good vegetables with like a casserole that you're eating, you know. So I think that is the key to like staying on key. And having somebody to work out with has been great too, because we are very accountable for each other. And, you know, we are here in Kerrville, so we go to 04 Strength, and they like put out and, you know, a workout every day, and we have most of the equipment now. So we pretty much stick with what they put out too. And then some days we'll do our own thing, but for the most part we do that. So we're pretty strict on everything. So.
Yeah, I like what one of the things you said, we call them go-to meals. You know, it's like you have your go-to meals, and then it takes out that much more that you have to think about, and then you can have some variety or some cheat in the evening because you had your go-to breakfast and lunch that you know are like on point. So that's great. That's great advice.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Well, I wanted to say that when you first were talking about the screen and eating thing, I didn't really know what that meant, because when I eat, I do have like my phone or I watch TV or something, but it doesn't make me eat more. I eat slower because I already know what I'm going to eat for the day, so I can't go grab something else. But I want to make it last longer, so I do watch TV or something, so I don't just scarf it all down in like 2 seconds. Oh, and you asked for the times that I eat, because I was getting really hungry sometimes, so you wanted to know how I was spacing it out. So when I started kind of remembering to write down when I ate things, I realized my stomach is really on schedule. Like almost every 4 hours I was hungry. So I just, rather than set times for when I'm going to eat, I just listen to myself more.
Got it. So you're pretty intuitive, and you have the opposite effect, or screens have the opposite effect where it slows you down rather than distracts you, and I'll eat more if I'm watching a screen, right? So that's good to know about yourself, and that's why we're all different, and it's hard to give out one plan for anybody, and kind of goes back to the way that we approach this, even just this webinar. It's like, let's think of the big pillars, and then you take those pillars and apply them to you, because your plan is going to be better for you, you know, with a little guidance, than if we just have one blanket, one size fits all, and try to cram some square pegs into a round hole. So I really, truly appreciate you guys being here. I learn as much from y'all as hopefully you do from each other and from me. And we want to keep this accountability going. So I know, you know, Kim and Shauna, you talked about having each other. I know that there's some people on here that have kind of paired up. And if we want to keep doing that, you know, that's what I would love to hear from you all. And then also just think about if you or maybe somebody else that you know are like ready for that quarantine lean. And again, it's just 21 days of accountability. And that's kind of what I keep hearing is schedule, accountability, showing up at a specific time. We can all watch a recording, but it takes a different discipline to show up at 7, to turn on your computer and be focused for the time. And I think that there's power in that discipline. Doesn't have to just be for this class, but whatever you're doing, to have a set time and just have to stick to it with a live interaction, I think is what can be really powerful for all of us right now. Even though it's on a screen, real time makes a big difference than watching that recording. So, you know, that discipline that you guys put into this, I really appreciate, and I think says a lot about who you guys are too. So Whitney and I are both here to help you. We're excited to kind of see each of you kind of progress. And if you have some individual goals or some things that you'd like to talk about offline, then both of us are here. If you don't have our personal information, then nutrition@CrossFit Central is the best way to kind of reach out. So I think that's it. We're at the time. We're watching the sunset in Michelle's windows back there. It's so beautiful. So nice. So thank you guys all. Jill, congratulations on the raffle winner. And I'm sure I'll talk to each of you real soon.
Y'all take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yes, ma'am.